Okay.
All right, what do we got first? I didn't look at the agenda. I did look at the agenda, actually.
So call to order.
All right. Everybody look at the minutes. I looked at the minutes and I thought they looked okay.
Yeah, they're fine.
Yeah, I could second it, or Rocco.
All right, I move to accept and you second. That's perfect.
Okay. And I don't think anybody's here from the public, right?
We're the only public.
Okay. All right. So my report. Okay. So Joe, I sent you an email that Stevens came out and they fixed the drainage issue for the irrigation. So that's all set. So it's ready to be winterized.
Okay, so they recharged it. They didn't drain it?
I don't believe that they drained it.
Okay.
They had to fix it, that drainage issue, so that we don't have frozen pipes again.
Yes.
He said that he put the heat tape on there, so that's all set, but it's ready for winterization.
All right, I'll get there before the week's out. Take care of that.
Okay. The pickleball court. So I don't know what you want to do about that, Joe. So we have to put our CIP, we have to submit our CIP budget by the end of December.
Oh, okay.
And the pickleball court, either we stick with the quote that we already had, which was through Hinting Tennis, or we check into this other one.
He wasn't at the last one.
But they still have to pour an asphalt base.
Yeah, I think just go with what you had.
Okay.
That other one
I
at
think so
the
too.
Vernon Senior Center is nice because if you had a space that already had an asphalt base, you could just put that down, but it seems
Right.
expensive.
Right. Yeah, and I don't know how well they hold up. They haven't even been able to use it yet because of COVID. So I feel so bad for them. They put in this beautiful new court and then they haven't even been able to use it.
Yeah.
So
They must have some money over there because that senior center is beautiful.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll stick with Hinding then. The porta potty was picked up for the season. I called them to have them come pick it up. And he requested that next year, when the porta potty is put into place, that we put a garbage can inside the unit.
Oh.
He said that he showed up there one day and he opened the door to the porta potty unit to clean it out. And he was like, whoa, somebody had filled the porta potty with fish.
What? Fish?
I'm not kidding.
Fish?
Like a lot of them.
Like on the floor of the porta potty?
No, in the tank of the toilet. They threw them into the tank of the toilet. I'm not even kidding.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
God.
So he had to clean them out of the toilet.
Oh.
And I'm like, you didn't even tell me. He didn't even tell me about it. And none of the residents had called to complain. But it was filled with fish. And I'm like, Don, do you really think that people are going to throw the fish in the garbage can if there's a garbage can in there?
Did you mad if that was August?
No.
A little stinky.
Well, it was over the summer, though.
Oh, it was? Oh,
Yes.
my gosh. You haven't cleaned it since the summer?
No. It
Oh.
was one of the weeks. So
Oh.
I asked him to pick it
Oh,
up.
he
And
didn't tell you about it, right.
He didn't tell me anything about it.
I
until
gotcha.
I
Yeah.
called him to say, hey, can you pick it up for the season? So he's requesting that you guys put a garbage can in there for next year. But I think we need to find a new place to put that unit because everybody that's coming off the highway sees it there.
It's real accessible.
Yeah. So just nasty. I can't even imagine when they opened the door and smelled that. I can't even imagine.
How about put it halfway down that driveway on the other side of the rail, like the River Road side of the rail. There's space there.
Can't
Keep
see
people
it.
from parking there too.
Well, the reason that we didn't want to put it over there was because we didn't want kids crossing the road. And when, So
Oh,
if they're walking across the driveway to use the porta potty, cars are still coming through there and they wouldn't see the
gotcha.
kids crossing.
How
That's what
about
we
all
don't
the
want
way
it on that side.
down, all the way down by the, all the way down by the fitness center there on the
Yeah,
rail side?
we can put it down there. It's, you know, it's a little bit of a ways for kids to go that are playing soccer.
It's good for them. They're running anyhow.
Yeah.
I don't know
So,
where else to put it,
I don't either. I don't either.
but I agree. Somebody sees it right off the river road. It's an easy stop.
Right. And they just swing right through. And I've watched people get out of their cars and take their garbage bags out from home and stuff them inside our garbage cans. And DPW is stuck, you know, emptying those cans, and that has not always gone well either for DPW.
Yeah, I don't know how we stop that. People are
No.
just idiots.
Yep. So,
The only way to stop
but
is to put a
anyway.
dumpster and then you get worse.
Oh, that was a
Right.
tragedy when we had a dumpster.
right. Then you get mattresses and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, they'll leave it on top of the dumpster if they can't get it in.
Yeah. So the porta potty's gone until springtime. It'll need to be brought back in the spring, but you guys will need to think about that, putting garbage can or something. I don't know how you would stop that. The lighting project, so we're on hold for the lighting project. All the bases are still there. What Troy is going to try to do is get the bases installed one at a time if he possibly can. I don't know if he's going to be able to dig with the ground frozen, but he's kind of stuck right now. He's not going to worry about trenching it, but he really wants to get them installed.
Yep, just get them off the ground.
Yeah. So that's what his goal is. But now, you know, we're getting a big storm this week. He's
Hopefully not.
short-staffed. He got pulled off of our project and onto the BOE project. So we're just kind of waiting.
All right. I've been talking to him a little bit, so I'll work with him.
Yep, I told him that, and you guys have each other's numbers, so
We do.
he can contact you. But the light bases are there; they're in the park, which I don't really like that either. That they're just laying in the ground, but we don't really have anywhere else to put them either.
I think they weigh a couple thousand pounds a piece. So no
Yeah,
one's gonna
they
take
do. They do. So, so anyway, so he's on it. He knows, and he'll work on it if he can.
Okay.
Let's see. So a couple of programs that we've done in the last couple of months were really successful. People were really happy to see more family-friendly activities. We did a turkey scavenger hunt at Fenton Ruby. We had over 50 people that registered for that. That was really great.
Yeah, that's a lot of people.
It was a lot of people. They had a lot of fun. And it was good. It was held over Thanksgiving break. They had to find all these turkeys that were on stakes within the park. Each turkey had a different message on it. So some of them were riddles, some of it was trivia, some of, you know, just fun stuff. Some, it was really to make the trip interactive for the families. They had to make up a song and sing it to each other and tell everybody in the group why they were thankful for each other. So they enjoyed that. It was good. We did the holiday wreath giveaway again this year. We are doing a virtual gingerbread contest. So we have just about 20 people that are registered for that. I'm going to put the voting poll up probably first thing tomorrow morning, and we'll announce the winners of that on Friday. So we have 3 categories, either adult, youth, or family. So that'll be fun.
Yeah.
And then we have the tour of holiday lights. So I contacted some of our surrounding towns that we work with. So Ashford, Mansfield, Holland, and Coventry. And we all joined together and we asked families in our towns if they wanted to decorate their homes, and we added it to a map. So we released the maps to the public, and now people can drive around from town to town to see all the decorated homes. And we have 3 prizes to give out for that as well. So Erica and I went out tonight to go look at some of the houses, and people went all out.
That's
And
good.
they're really appreciative of having these safe activities. So many things were canceled around the holidays, so they're really thankful to be able to do family activities together.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, it was good. So we'll have prizes to give out for the best traditional house, the best animated, and the best overall. So, and we'll announce those on Monday. Pickleball, that's over. We're supposed to have our last bit of pickleball this week, but it looks like the snow is going to cancel that for Wednesday, Friday. So that's over. Willington Wire is due out. It should be sent out in the next week or so. And that brings me to our last bits, which is our budget. So CIP and our yearly budget. So CIP, we are going to put the pickleball court back in, yes?
Yes, I agree. Yes.
Okay.
Oh, what do you guys
And-
think? Everybody else?
Yeah,
good
I
with that?
agree. Pickleball is the thing of the future.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, good. So we'll add that back in. And the other thing that we need to start doing, and I talked to Erica about this today, so whether we put this into CIP or we put this into our annual budget, we need to add in field maintenance so that we can start bringing in topsoil onto our fields, especially the soccer field down at River Road.
You have some field maintenance right now, don't we? Or do we
Yeah,
not?
it's bare bones.
It's basically
bare
for
bones.
fertilizing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really small. I'm talking about bringing in like lots of topsoil to lay over what's there right now. It settles year after year. It's filled with all the riprap underneath.
Mhm.
We get sinkholes, and there's lots of divots in that ground. So we really should be bringing in topsoil and reseeding portions of that field every year.
Okay. When would we do that? In the fall or in the spring?
I think the best time to plant grass is in the fall. So I don't know. We need to figure out where we're going to get the funding to do that. You saw how much it was to do that little bit of topsoil for
Yeah,
the light.
that was a lot of topsoil though. That was an immense amount of topsoil.
Yeah, but look at how much we're going to need for that entire. Well, I mean, if we do, bits and pieces of the field, it's not going to be as bad, but it's still a lot of topsoil we're going to have to bring in.
Yep. So you think we should do it it should be an annual thing. So we're always on top of it.
I think so. And I think it should be a different portion of the field every year.
Okay.
Or you do a portion in the spring and a portion in the fall. I don't know. But something, we got to start getting on that.
But our next budget, we should apply for another 10 grand for topsoil.
Yep.
What did you pay for
So-
that topsoil at River Road? That last round?
I don't remember how much that was. I want to say it was like 600 or somewhere between $400 to $600 for that small section that Troy dug, a really small section.
Do you think if we got the soil from Knights or wherever, the Department of Public Works would be willing to spread it? Or do we need to put money in to spread it as well?
They're spread really thin. So, and we're dependent on their schedule and what project, happens to come up. So,
Right. So we should fill in an amount that takes care of the labor too.
I think so, because we could, like the lights, they got pulled off of that project to go build buildings for BOE. So we could be in the same situation, and then we lose out on another year of being able to plant grass down there.
You think Gregory Peck is capable of doing that? Or we'd put it out to bid?
We could ask Greg. We could ask him. He's coming up to bid too. So we're looking at a new contract for his contract expires on June 30th.
Okay.
So Joe, what if we were to ask Public Works when their slowest time was? Either it's in April or is it in October? You know?
Honestly, I don't think they have a slow time.
No, it's four
It's
guys. isn't
constant.
it?
There's, he is short staffed. Troy has 4 guys working for him.
That's crazy.
I think with
Yeah.
the larger staff, it's not at all about willingness to do or slow
No,
time of year.
no, not at all.
It's so few guys, and it really depends on weather, right? A lot of their
Yep.
things are weather related. April could be a slow time, but if it snows into May, then not so much, right? So then you don't want it done then, and then they're not available.
Yeah, we'll take something off their back and try and do it. We'll present it to the Board of Finance and see what they say.
Right. So do we add that into CIP? I don't have real quotes to add in for topsoil, but
We're talking about the soccer field at River Road, right?
yeah,
So if you think it's an annual thing and we spread a little every year you need topsoil, right?
yeah, I think so.
You guys are soccer guys. What do you guys think?
It's just pretty bare, you know, it's just getting worse and worse every year. It's not getting better.
But
Right.
is this something that people with soccer fields do every year? They do a little topsoil and overseed?
Well, we're different from other towns, you know. The Townsend has Parks and Rec that fully maintains their fields and have water on it. Vernon does the same thing. We're just a small little community, but we are getting revenue from, you know, a couple of soccer clubs. So if we didn't have that, I mean, it wouldn't be worth doing. But since there is a demand for that field, even for NEU who bought the field next to us, but they're not going to use it probably for another couple of years. So, I mean, we're not losing money if we're making money from those clubs.
Do we maybe start charging a little more to use the fields to put towards maintenance? And
Yeah,
make
jack
that
it up
statement?
$5. Yeah.
Are we
So right
cheaper than
now we're
everybody
charging.
else?
Oh, we're super cheap because
Yeah.
we don't have, because the fields aren't maintained. We don't line the fields. We don't do anything.
Right.
Other towns line the fields. They're, in pristine shape.
Yep.
Maureen, what is our total revenue a year from soccer? Roughly?
Well, it depends. And I'm
Roughly.
sorry, I don't have that number, but it's in the thousands.
Okay. All right. So what if we establish, I mean, this is an arbitrary idea, but, figure out what our revenue is going to be. Maybe we do raise the rates a little bit, figure out what our revenue is. And then we kind of have a plan when we go into a budget meeting and say, listen, every year, we're going to put a third of our revenue from soccer back into the field, or 20%, or, whatever we think it is. And then it's established. And then we kind of don't have to re-explain every time.
Right.
Does that work?
The only problem with maintenance of a field is, I mean, to make it work, you have to shut it down for a season, right? For it to establish, or at least we should think about shutting half the field down.
Right, and that's what I was suggesting is
they can
shutting
flip
down a
the
portion of
nets the other way and just play shorter.
Yeah.
And I think if they aerated, overseeded, and then skim coated it, I think you'd get what you want in about a month or two.
And don't forget about the poop. Got to put the poop down.
Rocco's chuckling, so he doesn't think that's going to work.
No, it'll work. It's funny.
All right.
And that's exactly the thought, Rocco, right? It's to make a smaller field. Other than that, we don't have another option. We don't have another field for them to use.
Well, I think Mike's idea will work with that Celtic club. And I don't know who, because they do a lot of clinics and 3-on-3. I don't know if they have a really premier team as far as like NEU or Oakwood or teams like that. So they wouldn't care as much. I'm not sure that NEU would be as happy unless they only had the younger kids playing, or Bill would know more. I don't know when they go from 8-on-8 to 11-on-11. It depends on the age group.
So
Obviously.
Connecticut Celtic this year, they used the entire field plus other portions of River Road because they had so many 3v3 tournaments down there.
Yeah.
Remember, they had asked to use part of the baseball field too to put a soccer field. They had like all these little mini fields set up. So if we shut down a portion of the field, they're going to lose out a little bit too.
You could open up the baseball field for 3-on-3. I mean, if you're gonna use part of the field to reseed it, you can then allocate some of the games to the field and, the outfield. You don't really need a lot of space for 3-on-3.
Right. So I guess, so the question is, do we add it into CIP or do we put it into our yearly budget? And how much is that?
I
What's
think
that
yearly
number?
budget, I don't know what it's worth, but I think every year you want to do something, some maintenance to that field.
Yeah, I think Mike's idea is right. If it's a big part of the revenue, I think it should be built into the budget, and then a third of that area gets done every other year, every third year.
Right. Okay,
So budget, right?
yearly budget.
10,000?
Well, that's not a third. So if we're saying take how much of the revenue did you guys say to take? Did you say half of the revenue or a third of the revenue that we're taking in?
We don't know.
from
We
the
don't know
soccer
how
club?
much. We don't know how much dirt we need or what it's going to cost, and
Right.
we don't know how much revenue we make. So we can't make that number up yet. But I was just throwing it out
Well,
there.
I do, Mike. I have the
No, I'm
numbers
not
for
picking
how
on
much
you. I'm
revenue
just
we bring
saying.
in.
I'm not picking on you. I'm just saying. I think we have to look at it a little more carefully. Figure out the square footage and
Right.
figure out how much we need and what it's going to cost and all that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the idea is what we're talking about. And, I think Bill has a good idea. He was involved with soccer at NAU for a long time, and I'm sure he'd have some good ideas on how to, divide up these fields and how to, turn them over and how to, do the whole process.
Using that
Backfield,
baseball
the
field?
backfield is in better condition than the front field. It's that front and middle that's kind of torn up.
Mm-hmm.
The back isn't too bad. But then again, once we do the overseeding, is there going to be water there though? That's the thing.
There is irrigation.
I mean, but can we establish a watering system or not really? We just have to let
That
nature
field
take
has
over.
its own watering system in the spring and the fall. Try walking across it.
But we do have water there.
We do have water.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to add it to the list of something that needs to be looked at to be added to the yearly budget, and whatever that number is going to be. But budgets are, being worked on. Erica, when should they be submitted to Donna? I know CIP is due by December 30th, and my yearly budget or the Parks and Rec budget is not usually submitted. I can't hear you.
Sorry, you present to the Board of Finance directly.
Yes,
And
I think it's in
so
February.
Let me see. I will tell you for sure. In their draft calendar, and I don't believe they adopted it, but the discussion wasn't changing these items. Thursday, February 4th. So you are in the first group of folks
Yeah.
to present.
How big is that soccer field, Bill?
Oh, at least 100 by 75, usable space. You want a little bit of a border around it. It's bigger than that, but it's 100. It's 100 down to the tracks, and then about 75 wide usable. It's longer than 75, but you know what I'm saying? As far as the usable field, if you lined it.
Yep. So if we did it in thirds, 2,500 square feet with a couple of inches, is that what you're thinking? Topsoil? Probably.
Yeah.
All right.
I can talk to Troy and see what he thinks, how much we would need.
Okay. Let's see if the internet knows.
I think we should talk to Troy and about where we get the topsoil too. I got some topsoil from Knights last year that had glass and nails in it.
Really?
I wasn't very happy with it.
Wow.
Wow, that's not
That's
good.
surprising because they're pretty
I think
good.
they're kind of hit and miss. A lot of rock too.
Really?
I'm not sure. Maybe Desi Auto has better stuff or what's going on. Or Becker.
Yeah, we can figure that out.
Okay. Okay, so then CIP, is there anything else that you guys think should go into the CIP budget other
Where
than
we at?
pickleball?
What do we have right now? It's pickleball.
And that's it.
That's it?
Yep, I didn't know if you wanted to put the topsoil in CIP or in our yearly budget.
I think it should go in the yearly budget because CIP says no, you don't get topsoil.
All right, so the only thing in CIP would be the pickleball court, and I think that's like 40,000.
Okay, but they
Wasn't
want us
that
to go
like-
how many years out? 5?
For what?
CIP?
If we had projects,
Oh, I thought
Right, I
every year
mean-
they wanted us to update our 5-year plan,
Yes,
right?
if you have something within those 5 years.
But don't you want to have something no matter what? I think.
A nice building, some permanent bathrooms.
I gotta take a phone call.
right? So I don't know. I mean, we don't have quotes. We don't have anything. We've talked about different things, but
Mhm.
you know, we've not seriously talked about it. We've talked about a rec center down at River Road, but not really seriously.
Yeah.
We talked about a turf field. You know, putting turf down there, but we don't have any real quotes.
Didn't you get something from the turf? A little bit of info?
Yeah, a little bit, but he never got back to me with
Okay.
a real quote. He had sent an
Yeah.
email, you know, with the basic, you know, how much it would be for, you know, square footage wise, but that was it.
And there's always a worry about what's underneath, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
And we know what's underneath.
I know. But that could be a showstopper.
Yep.
I mean,
Until
just
the-
the little digging they did, they found some stuff, right?
I know.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, and they will, the whole soccer field, that's what's under it.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys want to put other things in there. I guess that's up to you. I don't have any other ideas.
Other than the additional lighting project, correct? That was always a
Yep.
thought, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, adding on lights around the track.
Yeah. Even the baseball field, correct? For night ball?
We talked about it, but I think that Little League is not, numbers are dwindling for Little League. So,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know, you know, if there's even going to be a future of Little League in Willington.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah.
But I know they've been struggling for the last 2 years.
Right. Yeah.
Rocco and Mike, is that right?
Well, I'm not a part of Little League anymore, but it's been a struggle.
I'm not either, but I understand that there is new leadership, and I think that will help.
I hope so. So, Joe, the only other thing we thought of for CIP would be adding more lights around the track. Bill mentioned lighting the baseball field. We talked
Maybe
about a
better
turf
off-
field.
Maybe the soccer field's better to put lights on, no?
Yeah. I mean, it would definitely get, it would be rented for sure into the evening, especially in the spring and late fall. Yeah.
The
So,
soccer definitely would be a better option with the lights.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I like the idea of lights along the back of the walking path.
Mhm.
So that's cheaper than the lights for the soccer field. So I'd say your pickleball and then lights for the walking path and ultimately lights for the soccer field, and maybe turf for the soccer field.
Right.
Because if you're gonna have lights, you're gonna be using it more. You're gonna beat it up. So would turf last longer, you guys?
Yeah, it's, before a refurbish about 7, 8 years, maybe.
With hard use?
Yeah, and we won't have hard use. Even if we, we'll expand it out to other sports because they'll all want to use it. If you line it correctly, you could do every sport.
Yeah, you can
Sky's
use
the limit.
lacrosse in there
Flag
or whatever.
football, softball, football,
Right.
soccer, everything. Yeah.
So that makes that field more viable if that's lit and there's multiple sports you could play on.
Yeah. Multi-purpose field. Yep.
And then you put turf down. So put those two things in the end of the CIP, but put the pickleball, walking path lights, and what else do we have there?
So pickleball, lights around the track, lights on the soccer field, and turf.
Okay. And Mike.
So, hi, Mike. You're muted.
Probably Laura. She wants him muted.
There we Now I'm in.
All
Hi,
right.
Mike.
Hi.
How
So
are you?
sorry, but I had a sad clown face all made up. I forgot to wear it. Where's, how do I get this? I gotta get somebody on the screen here. What the hell? Technological wizardry. Here we go.
We see
There we are.
you, Mike. We see you.
Now I'm in. Sorry to interrupt.
Okay. So I don't have the only thing that I have a quote for is pickleball, but I don't have quotes for anything else. So
We could eyeball it. When do we
Okay,
have to have
so-
that CIP bid in, or that CIP report?
by December 30th.
The CIP has to be by December 30th?
Yeah.
All right. All right.
First meeting is January 6th.
I will send myself an email and try and figure something out. Just
Okay.
rough numbers, right?
Yeah. When the CIP meeting starts, really somebody should be there to explain what we're talking about or what you're trying to do. Because they move things around, they move them to out years, but
I make a motion that
Sure.
Rocco go and explain what we need. Can I get a second?
I second.
All right, good. Rocco's going.
What about that guy, Mike?
If you send me an email like you're sending yourself, I will help get you some companies that will give you some quotes. We just
Yeah, I
finished,
think we
we
can
just finished,
ballpark.
we just finished doing 5 fields at UConn.
Yeah. Yep.
Didn't you get a number for turf, Maureen?
he never sent me the full quote. He really hasn't sent me anything except for an email saying, there's a lot of details that go into this, and he said what the square footage was, but that was about it.
What do
He
you
has
think,
not
Mike?
sent a real quote.
What do you think, Mike? What's that field worth for turf? $750,000? Mike's gone.
No, he's there. Mike,
Are you
I can't
asking
tell.
me? You
I
asking
am.
me? I
Yep.
don't know. I didn't deal with any numbers, but they've basically been on site for about a year. When they finish one field, they move on to the next one. And it doesn't, we don't necessarily have to go with that company, but I'm sure if I send them an email from a Yukon with a Yukon address, I'm sure I'll get a rapid response.
I remember
We should go online and get a square footage number.
seeing E.O. Smith.
They
when he-
gave us the square footage number, Joe.
Oh, all right.
That company had given it to us, and I forget what the square footage cost was, but it came out to be about 750,000.
Oh, there you go. That's $100 a foot. Right? Give or take?
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
That's about
so we'll go
right.
with that.
So,
Keep in mind though, that doesn't include fencing and all that stuff.
right.
Yeah.
And drain, the biggest issue
Yeah,
I think that we would run into is the drainage piece of it.
Sure. Yeah.
We all know what's under there, so I think that would be the main problem.
Okay.
So pickleball, lights around the track, lights around the soccer field, and a turf field.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Should we figure one more thing out there, Erica? Just have 5 things?
I think, in my opinion, Joe, the CIP committee is going to look at, did you just pick a couple of things so that you could have some things on the plan? Or are they really, how dedicated and important? So if you're not sure about something, and rather than just come up with something, I would just say, put a few things out there and wait and see. You can always resubmit next year. It is just a plan and it's a moving document.
Okay.
Joe, in 5 years, the prison workout area is going to be like 10 years old, and some of those apparatus might need to be replaced.
Are they getting used that much?
I don't know,
Oh.
but they're going to be 5 years old or 10 years old by then.
We've always talked about lights in that field, and it seems to me soccer is probably the right thing to put
for
lights
years.
on.
Yep.
And turf makes the lights more viable.
Right. And if that field going next door has some of those amenities,
Right, we got to compete.
it's going to make a difference.
Yeah.
So I think those are good things.
Okay. Okay, so I guess that's it. And then the regular budget report is going to need to be completed. Erica, I don't even know what format we're going to be using this year.
So you can
with the new
submit it.
system.
Donna isn't ready to roll out the system for department heads to use yet. There just hasn't been enough
Right.
time with the
Right.
COVID really put a crimp in the plans for training that they got with our small staff. So if you give the numbers to Donna, she will put them in to the new program. So however they're submitted, if it's in the form you were using before, if it's in a spreadsheet, an Excel form, whatever way you get them to her, then she will compile them all and then get reports out to everybody.
Okay.
We were hoping this
take-
year, it's going to take us a full year. So this time next year, you should be able to build your budget within the new Infinite Visions. We're just not quite there yet.
But when do we have to actually propose our next budget?
So Parks and Rec presents to the Board of Finance on February 4th. So Donna usually requests those budget reports, I think, 2 weeks in advance of the meeting. It's either 1 week or 2 weeks prior to the presentation date. So January.
Okay. Can we get a list of the dates that we have to show up and do these things, or is it going to be apparent?
So I guess
I can tell you the CIP date. Give me 1 minute. I find the right budget book here. We'll make sure the communication, Joe, goes. You want it to go to you until there's someone else?
Yeah, because even if you get someone else, they're not going to get up to speed.
No,
For
sure.
I don't think you're going to get Greenwich's, person that was the head of the rec department coming to Wellington. We're going to get somebody that's going to be learning as they go.
Stay positive. Hang on while I pull that up. Your presentation date to CIP currently is January 20th.
Okay.
And that is that's the last day of new projects that we're going through. So the projects are due into the selectman's office on the 30th, and then they'll be presented to the committee on January 20th. So we'll send an email out before that meeting so that you'll have the
Doesn't somebody
link and the
usually send out
information and know. I'm sorry?
Somebody from your office usually send out like an online form that we have to fill out? for
Yes.
the CIP?
Yes, Maureen would have gotten it.
Yep, I've already got it.
All right. If you want to send it to
So-
me, go ahead.
I will do that.
Okay.
And I'm sure if at all possible, depending on the hiring process and what that looks like, if you needed to be bumped a little bit down on the Board of Finance, they may be willing to hear that, to say, listen, we've got someone new, this is when they're starting. And it all depends on who's hired and when they can start. if you want them to take a look at it and at least be part of the process. I know last year with the new library director, they gave them a little bit of slack and let them go a little bit later. And I'm sure they'd be open to that. So you can play it by ear.
Do they have to post this to the union members before they can post it to anybody else?
We already did. It had to be posted in-house 5 days before we could go outside.
What happened there? Did everybody pass?
Yeah.
Good.
Yep. So it went out and it closes on Wednesday.
Have you gotten anyone applying?
I believe we have 6 or 7. When I came back tonight, there was one more.
Okay.
So I
And
know so far we're looking at for committee. You wanted yourself and 2 commission members. We've asked Sherry York.
yeah, I think a couple of us should sit on it, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I'd like to myself. And then I did ask Troy if he would sit in. There is a very close relationship between the Parks and Rec and our DPW.
Okay.
And so I think that's a good solid, that's a pretty ominous group, but I think that's great. No, I think input from this committee, as an employee, the person answers here, but as a Parks and Rec director, they respond to, answer to this commission. So it's important that they're members of that your commission. And 3 is perfect, 4 makes it a meeting.
yeah.
So.
The BOF thing, that was end of January that we have to have our budget given up for them, or
February 4th.
February 4th? Thank you.
So they like it at least a week before.
Okay.
And Joe, I'll try to see what I can put together to give to you before I go.
Okay. Is there some kind of, I don't expect you to have a book that says, here's what the director of the Parks and Rec does on a daily basis, but is there some kind of an outline or something that you do
Yeah.
so many things? I don't know how the hell someone's going to step in there and just say, I can do this.
So, I mean, I have binders for almost every
Yeah.
program. And I'm putting together like a policies kind of thing that talks about every program, who the contact person is, with contact information, when to do certain things, when
Yeah.
to start certain projects, for the concerts or summer camp, when do you start hiring, things like that.
Oh,
So I
that's
am
great.
putting that document together.
I think one plus is COVID, because she's not going to, whoever gets hired isn't going to have anything to do but learn for a while.
Right.
Even
Right.
though you did in the middle of COVID, get a bunch of programs still up and running.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
So, but I'll send you everything before I go.
Okay.
You'll have all the information.
Cool.
Yep.
What else we got?
So I think that's it. I also have a projects list that I'm going to leave for the next person too, of what projects we're in the middle of.
Mhm.
The lighting project at River Road, the pickleball courts. We have the broken fence here at the town office building. The memorial bench that has not been installed yet here at the town office building,
Okay.
along with the lighting for the flagpole. And then the scoreboard and flagpole, the scoreboard out here too.
Yeah, at the town hall office.
Yeah.
Okay,
So I'll leave all that too.
cool.
Yep. So as of the beginning, I was going to check with finance and I didn't have time today to do that, but our fund balance as of September 1st, we still had $18,000 in our fund balance. So I will double check that number to see what we have, because that number does not show up on our monthly budget report.
Right.
It's totally separate. So I will double check those numbers and make sure that you have that as well.
Okay. Is that money protected so that it can't turn into a new truck for somebody or something like that?
Yes, it is in our fund balance.
Okay.
Should be
What
good.
else?
That's it. If I think of something, I'll send you an email.
All right. And you know how much we all love you and are going to miss you.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss
Yeah.
you guys too.
Big
And
time.
There's no way someone's gonna replace what you do. It's gonna take two people, and we weren't paying enough for one person, so that's impossible.
Yeah. Well, I looked at some of the resumes, and there's some good people. You know, it looks like they have some recreation experience, and so I hope it works out.
Can
For the new
Maureen
person.
get a hold of some of these applications and just put a little check mark on ones that she thinks would
Yeah.
be positive? Is there anything wrong with that? No?
No, on the hiring committee, it should not be part of the process.
All right.
Yeah, you guys you'll know the fit when you see it and when you look at the resume. You'll see.
Okay.
I skimmed through them, and there's definitely some experience in the ones that you've received.
All right. That's good news.
Yeah.
That's good news.
So
Well, we could have had a party for you. We blew it.
I
That's all right.
know.
This
And when
is
you-
as close as we can get.
Well, I thought Mike was going to come in and dance in your office while we were all watching. That didn't happen.
So when you start your next meeting, Joe, in January, and you say,
How do you know I'm not there
"Anyone from the
now?
public,"
I meant the other Mike.
so maybe I'll be the one person from the public in your next meeting in
Well,
January.
that'd be good.
Present to
Okay.
speak.
I'll
That'd be
heckle you.
good. We don't get a lot of presents to speak. Well, that'd be awesome. Know
We
that you
will.
will be missed. Incredible.
Heather will help set up the Zoom for your next meeting. If there's not, if you have one before there's a replacement, you feel the need to meet for anything up until that point. So we'll get you the Zoom link so you can start the meeting.
Okay. That's great.
I'm assuming we have to interview by Zoom though, don't we?
I think that at least the first round, if you feel like a second round, we could, take a look at a different way. We have yet to do one in person, and knock on wood so far, they've worked out. But yeah, this virtual world, it's different. It's not the same, that's for sure.
No.
So there's something
But
to be
it's all
said.
we got right now, so we'll just do it.
Yeah.
Right.
And with the uptick, I did, sharing with Maureen, we had 14 positive cases in Wellington last week. So, I mean, there's certainly an uptick everywhere, and we're seeing it here. No matter how small, it's a lot for our small community.
Yep.
How sick are people getting?
I don't know here in town, because I don't know who they are. So unless someone were to share on their social media that they were positive, I don't know who they are. It's HIPAA protected information.
Sure.
Oh,
So
I
I
don't
know
think-
that
I don't think we've had any deaths, have we?
we have.
Just one.
We had our first one mid-November, and last week, as I was preparing numbers for the selectmen's meeting at 4:00, I learned of a second one. So somewhere in the last 2 weeks, we had a second COVID-related death, and I don't know who they were. So I don't know demographics or any of that. So we're saddened to hear that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Our hearts and our thoughts go out to their families, but I don't even know who they are.
Yeah.
That's some of the hard part about this, right? Is, you worry about people. So unless your friends or neighbors shared it with you personally, you just don't know. You don't know if there's someone out there that needs something.
Well, hopefully we're coming towards the end.
I hope so.
Vaccines landed and they started going in arms today, and
Yep.
hopefully our EMS workers will be, in this early batch that will start to get some vaccines too. So they'll be able to be protected. They're on the front lines out here.
Yeah, that's good stuff. There's a solution at least in place.
Right.
So
Right.
that's good. That's good. So I think I have a service call to go on. That was my phone call.
Oh, no.
So I will bid you all adieu. And Maureen, thanks for everything you did. You were the
Yeah.
best rec
you very-
director we've ever had.
Absolutely.
Guys. Thank
Good
you.
luck in the new job.
Yeah.
Thanks. I'll be in touch with you guys.
All right. Excellent.
All
We'll
right.
hook up we'll hook up this summer.
Okay. Stay
That
healthy.
doesn't sound good.
Oh, no.
Sounds like there's gonna be
Bye,
drinking.
Maureen.
Stay healthy, you guys. Take
Bye,
care.
everybody.
Stay healthy.
Bye,
Happy
everybody.
holidays.
Bye.
Thanks, Maureen. Good night.
Bye.